I need an intro.
Just start the damn video!
What's going on, guys? I thought it was about time to go ahead and bring this show back. One, because it allows me to put out content pretty quickly on the weekends when I have time, and these episodes can either run very long sometimes, depending on how big my weekend was, or it can be really short. Gives me a chance to update and talk about what's been going on and what's going to be going on, for that matter. So, hey, guys, ReploidBill, William Bush, and this is the first episode in a whole new line of Days Off. Now, for you guys that don't know, Days Off used to be a simple show where in the morning I would turn the phone on around the time I woke up, kind of say, what's up, guys, finally here on my weekend, yada yada. And then I would kind of go through my day and I would talk about things like that. Well, on Days Off, whatever happens to grab my interest is what grabs my interest while I try to explain what it is that I've got going on for my days off. If I pick things up, do things, this, that, whatever, see a movie. But primarily, one of the things that has been holding me back from doing videos is this room, trying to get everything situated and everything put back in order. And it's been rough. It's been mighty rough. This room had to be completely gutted, and now a bunch of stuff is back in here, and now it's being sorted out and put back together, and it's been a bit of a nightmare. But I am finally making some progress on it, specifically because I finally got on first shift. That is a huge deal, man. Third shift was killing me, and I don't even know if that's an exaggeration. It was rough. It's not something that I myself can do. It was rough, guys. So, throughout the course of Days Off, as I think about things, as I'm interested to say things throughout the course of my day, that's exactly what this show is for, and I'll be coming in and talking about it. But I figured I would start out with showing you what kind of panic or disarray this room is actually in, and then giving you an idea of what I hope to do with it. So, yeah. So here we go, guys. This is it. This is the room. It's not a big room. This is just the room where I plan to finish everything off. And I'll give you an idea of what happened. For people that saw my page, you saw what happened with the dog. There was a massive problem right here. I've cleaned most all of that up, and I've separated books into different piles, such as I dug out all the countdowns, and I'm starting to put them in order and everything like that. And some of my detective comics are going here. This is one area where comic books are going to go. The boxes will eventually go basically all the way up as I can put them in there. These are going to be, that's a set of books that either need sorted for selling or so on and so forth. And then these boxes over here, this is going to end up becoming DC current run, Marvel current run, Green Lantern and Wonder Woman are going to end up going in that box over to the side. That's, of course, what I already said. That's my big Wolverine. And then as it pans across, you can see what kind of situation I'm in here. This is going to be third-party characters. I refer to those as anything that's not main Marvel stay characters, main DC stay characters, even if they're DC comics and so on and so forth. Like Darth Vader is a Marvel comic, but it's going to go in this box because I consider it a third type character. These are going to be unpacked, sorted, moved out. There was 4 of these stupid things. I don't like them. They're cheap. They're garbage. They're just what I was making do with at the time. Got the TV set up for the monitor. There's power morpher. Most of the pictures are finally up. There's going to be a lot more added. Those are my curtains. They're not down right now, but my curtains are this. There are different collector scrolls and wall things that I've picked up over time. There are 2 of them. Those are Final Fantasy 14s that are going to go right here, or rather that are right there. Some of my artworks I've picked up from cons, things of that nature. A lot of work still needs done, but I picked these 2 shelves up from a garage, and they're getting figures put onto them and taken off of them. I built these 3 shelves here, and then there's going to be another set that goes across the top that's going to be another 2 high. So that's all going to be there. And then all this stuff is being put onto them and organized, which is the reason it's taken me so long to finally get back to videos. Is because all of this stuff is unarranged stuff in boxes and things that barely survived the move itself and now are looking for homes in all of this. And I've done some work. I've got it somewhat set up. So I have like my Wonder Woman shelf here. And then that's not necessarily themed. It's just anime for right now. Some stuff is going to have to come down, like the Green Lantern and whatnot is going to have to come down because that's going to end up on this shelf. And then some of the other stuff, the anime stuff, is going to go up there. And there's another shelf that's being put together. Another shelf that's being put together. I haven't made a decision on this one. Over here, the top shelf is Dragon Ball Z. These were my wedding toppers. This shelf I haven't decided on. This shelf I haven't decided on. Right now, stuff is just going up. This is all the Sailor Moon stuff I've been able to get for Michelle, and those are all the pops and things. I don't care for pops, but she does, so I make space for them. Some Star Trek stuff is slowly being put here. Some X-Men stuff is being put here. This is kind of neat. It's my little Batcave thing, and it's got a bunch of little metal figures. Those are my Ninja Turtles. These guys are going to be removed from the back. I think they're being sold. And then these are going to be Marvel books that I'm putting together. And then these guys are probably going to have to move down because there's still Marvel books to go. These are what I was talking about. Third type characters. Witchblade, Kick-Ass, Fathom, Star Wars, all my Star Trek books, Clone Wars, Sunstone. I love Sunstone. I think that's really, really a good book. A little more grown up than some of the other books that I read for sure. Massive adult material, but I like it a lot. And these are all the DC books, mostly Green Lantern things, so Wonder Woman, those are the big things that I get. But I got Crisis and New Frontier and a couple things. I just picked up all of Nightfall, so that's pretty good. Once again, we're on a cell phone, excuse the quality, and I am in the point of rambling, so I think this part is done. I just wanted to give you an idea here. Like, my chair did not survive the move. It is broken, so it's going to have to be completely removed. Some of these things are going to stay. The TV is going to stay. These drawers are going to be cleaned back out. Just a nightmare of stuff that still needs done. See, like this is what happened when all the stuff was moved out. This is just a box of stuff now. And like, these are extra parts for all of the Sailor Moon stuff that's been collected. And then, of course, this is one of my mic cases and covers for the mics, and they're not even here right now. A lot of the mic stuff is not here in this place the way it was. It might be moving back to this place shortly, and then, of course, old toys and models and Star Wars stuff I don't even plan to keep is in here. Like, that's an old phone. Like, maybe I'll find some purpose for it, but maybe not. I don't even... Like, some of it is just ridiculous. Dragon Ball Z stuff, which, yeah, is what I mean. He didn't even go in there. He literally goes over there. But I just haven't done it yet. In the top shelf, Amiibos are probably going to sit there for a while. Some of the Pokemon is there. Some of it's up there. It's a mess. It's just a mess right now. And the biggest part is that I got to get this room working before I can get back to doing videos. And this is covering a lot of different stuff in terms of videos. Because I got a lot of things I want to start talking about. Everything from video games, comic books. I even have an idea for comic books. Every now and then I take pictures and I put them on pages of fandom and I make a quick comment. Well, I'm thinking about, throughout the course of the week, collecting all the images that I see that really talk to me for whatever reason and making a show called Comic Book Moments where I just kind of put those in and do close to what the Sentai Review does and comment on the images that I've encountered throughout the course of that week. So that's probably going to be a show here on Reploid Productions and things of that nature. But the point is, I'm working on it. It's just a tremendous project. Okay. So that's it. That's it for the first episode in a long time of days off. Switched back to the webcam for a minute to finish off the night, to say that the office awfully close to being put together, and imagery and whatnot of some of the things I've done. I put together some of the shelves finally, a lot more than they were. I got a lot of the crap off the floor. I put up the 4 turtles masks in the back. Just all kinds of stuff. Been working on it all day. Cleared out and sorted a bunch of books and put things together, put things up, just put a lot of stuff back in order. And I'm hoping that we are all set now. I do. I really do, because I'd like to start getting things off the ground again. Putting myself back together is one thing, and it's an important thing. And though the context is important, it's not this video. There's going to be a video talking about some of the stuff that I went through on third shift and why it hurt me so bad. How much it really did take out of me and how difficult it was to do it. And some people can do third shift. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them by a long shot. I know that for sure now. But there's a lot of different things that I have ready to go. I have a little book that I keep that I've been putting down a bunch of things in. Sometimes if you ever see the live podcasts, you see me do this, where I open this up and I take ideas for the show and things like that. Well, also at the same time, I do a bunch of notes for myself, what I want to do on this show. And this has a big list of things that I want to talk about, the things that I'd like to show off and things like that. Like, not so much that I'd bring iCollect back, maybe, who knows, depends on what happens. But I'd like to show off some of the Power Ranger merchandise and things like that I have. I'm not drowning in it necessarily, but I do have a good set of Rangers, and I do have Morphers, and I have the Power Sword, and I have Dragon Dagger and Saba and whatnot up there. So I have material that I could show off and I could talk about. Some people have way more and way more material and way more impressive material than I have, but I got a fair share. It might also be a good idea to start coming in here and just a lot of different things that I want to do. I want to get the X-Men show back up and running, and that's just around the corner. I'm finally back to posting. Now I've just got to get back into a set where I can talk about the issues, the current issues. And I don't know if I'm going to have to do them like this, or if I'll get away with doing what I was doing where I edit the videos and actually have something moving and everything. But that depends, because X-Men is in a state right now where it's so big and there's so much. And back when I very first debated opening Keeping Up with the X-Men, it was not. It was kind of dying, and it only had like 2 or 3 titles that were running. Now there's like 9, and it's just, it can be overwhelming. So what I might actually have to do with Keeping Up with the X-Men is I might have to do quick videos where I just talk about, hey, Old Man Logan's doing this, Domino's doing this, New Mutants are doing that, yada yada. And as for X-Men, main titles might have to go on that channel. I don't know yet. So it might just review, like, it might do the picture stuff, the actual videos for X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue, and X-Men Red, and Astonishing X-Men. That's 4 titles. I could keep up with that. I could do that. That's relatively 2 reviews each week or something like that. It's doable. I can do that much. In terms of this channel getting back underway, I do have the comic book thing, and I have video game conversations and things like that I'd like to come in here and talk about, Nintendo memories and things like that. So a lot of gaming on this channel, a lot of comic books on this channel. That's fundamentally what I've been meaning to do, is get this thing up and running, and third shift just made it impossible. It just was not possible. I need to get Fandom Night back up to where it was. We are straight up crippled. We were so on track. We had so many shows running. It was doing so well, and then it just collapsed in on itself. And I know a couple of reasons why, and it's a multitude of things, from fatigue of some of the hosts to inside squabbling that ended up happening, inside confrontations, to me no longer being able to hold it together the way I was, because for years, and Fandom Night is like 10 years old now, I have been holding Fandom Night together. Back when it was all the way back when it was Reploid Productions, this channel. And before that, the very first show launched. It was this show. It was Days Off. It launched on ReploidBill, which that was under an email that I no longer have. The channel still exists, but I can't get into the channel, so I made Fandom with ReploidBill. That turned into Keeping Up with the X-Men, and I noticed that this channel was dead, and I was like, I don't like Reploid Productions to be dead because it's where we started. So I went back, and of course, that's what this is. It's back. That's why I'm talking to you right now. So with Reploid Productions back up and running, it's now time to turn my attention again to Fandom Night and bring it back in a legitimate way that can be done. And if it turns out that Super Sentai has to film, the Sentai Review has to film every other Saturday, and it has to film 2 episodes every other Saturday in order to make both Wednesdays, unless, of course, it's a big episode and it ends up getting cut in half because editing takes a long time on that show sometimes. And it can be tough if it's a huge thing and he has to look for a lot of images and he has to do research and whatnot to try to correct some of the things we said or whatever. That can be a rough and long editing process. So, right now it's just Scott that edits that show. And I am going to start focusing on a couple of the other shows to get their episodes up in terms of their backlog and different things like that. So we are underway. It is going to take a minute. And for a while, just to get things moving, I might set events on the group pages to kind of tell you, hey, this Saturday is going to be the What's Up. And maybe if we only do certain shows every 2 weeks or certain shows every once a month, then if that's what happens, that's what happens. But we have to find a realistic way to get it working again. And I do have a theory. I have an idea. What I'd like to do so far, and you can let me know if this is a good idea or whatever. I mean, if you're willing to comment in the section below, this is one of my ideas. Is I think it wouldn't be a terrible idea to have about maybe at 8:30 at night to 9:30 to 10, somewhere in there. So like it starts at 8:30 and it can run up to 10. If it hits 10 o'clock, that's the end of the episode. We gotta go. And here's the reason why. All but one person, and this is what's killing me about it, where we work, where a good portion of us work, overtime is crazy right now. And yeah, Seth doesn't work with us, but his place is starting to get a little strangely demanding as in terms of when he can and cannot leave. So if he's in the middle of something and he's working with customers or something like that, he can't just step off the line. He can't just do away with what he's doing. Where I've worked other jobs like literally Kroger's, I almost got fired for staying and doing more work that needed to be done that I was asked to do. The guy came up to me and he said, I noticed you're not supposed to be here. And I was only 10 minutes over. I helped bag out 2 customers, and then I went and got a couple of the carts and brought them in. I thought it was my job to be thorough before I left. And the manager came up to me and he said, you need to go. You don't do overs ever. And I said, well, it's kind of rude for me to be bagging groceries and then my time comes up and I just walk away from that guy. And he says, I realize that, but that's what you do. If you're out at 5, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a 2-cart grocery order. If you're out at 5, that clock strikes 5, you leave. We'll try to get somebody else to do it. So he was like, be a douchebag. And that sat with me forever. It really did. It never left my memory because I was like, what? That's what you want? And maybe that was just my store. I can't say anything about the fundamental overall aspects of that company. I can't because I wasn't even there for that long. I can say that I have a nasty story about how they fired me, and it was really shitty. They fired me for going to my grandfather's funeral, and if any requests come up in the bottom, maybe I'll talk about that too, but hey, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about Fandom Night. So look, here's the thing. My idea is to possibly, for things like the controller pileup, post an event that says, hey, 8:30 live broadcast controller pileup. We'll come in here. It'll be 8:30. This will go live, and we'll do exactly like this. I'll be in my office. Some of the guys will be wherever they're going to be, and we'll hit the button, and then it'll go live. We'll be up, and we'll talk to people, and we'll say, hey, this and this, and we'll just go through the podcast like it's supposed to be done. Then, of course, we'll rip the audio, and we'll put it on the podcast feed for people that just care about the podcast feed. And what this is going to do, because most of our people work third or first, except for Shane, this is the hardest part for me. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it. But right now, me and Shane only get 1 weekend off every 3 weekends. The Sentai Review films at about 3 o'clock on Saturday. If he works overtime on either of those filming days, he's not in the episode. So he's going to be making it into the Sentai Review, but nowhere near the extent that he used to. And that bothers me. I don't like the fact that we lost Nick. I don't like the fact, even today, it still bothers me that I lost Spencer. I don't like losing members. Okay? Sometimes things come up. Sometimes there are disagreements. Sometimes guys can't keep up with the schedule, and that's true. Look, guys, YouTube and podcasting, it might seem like an easy, everyday thing that anybody can do, but I'm telling you, it's not. It's not as easy as you think. It's time-consuming, and sometimes it's even a bit of a health hazard, and that's not a joke. It can mess with you mentally. It can mess with you physically. It sounds ridiculous. It's a lot of sitting down, and that's not healthy in the long run. I mean, you can edit a simple video like this sometimes for 3 hours if something goes wrong with the audio or something like that and you care enough to go in and fix it. It can be a nightmare. It's not a simple task. And when we were doing 9 shows, this was a lot to say to people. You got to be there Wednesday. You got to be there Thursday. You got to be there Saturday. We're going to be a small meeting on Sunday. There's a live broadcast on Monday. All the things have to be posted up on Tuesday. It was rough. And it did start to tear at some people. And it was hard to get everybody together. Some guys were on second, some guys were on third, some guys were on first, some guys were on swing shift. It was a nightmare. And we did our best to get as many people as we could, and then sometimes it would flatten out. There would only be like 2 hosts for a while, then it would come out 3 hosts, then we'd get the whole team, then it'd drop back down to like 1 guy, like me. For a while, Pages of the Fandom was literally just me. I was the only one on the show, and then I kind of got Scott. Me and Scott clash on comic books very hard, so that wasn't good for the show. And that's another thing, too. It's not always about getting hosts. It's about getting the right host for the right thing. Kind of like, and I'm not trying to be mean, but here's the realistic part of it, and even Scott said it himself, Shane should have been in the Gundam review. There was no reason for Scott to be there. Scott does not know Gundam. He doesn't really like Gundam. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. People like what they like. They don't like what they don't like. And I shouldn't do a podcast on Robotech without Nick. That was Nick's show. I watched it. I'm okay with it. Nick watched it. Nick loved it. Shane should never be in a Robotech podcast. He hates the show. And that's the truth of it. And that's fandom night in general. That's figuring out the hosts you need for the show that you need them in and putting them there. And it can be really difficult to do. And it can be it can eat your time alive. Okay? And then it's like doing a second job. And it's hard enough when you do a full-time job with forced overtime and a second, basically part-time job on top of that. And what I'm hoping, if I can arrange all this properly, the people that go to third shift probably leave their house at around 10 o'clock because most of the people that work third shift, I know where they work, and their shift starts at about 11. If this pans out the right way, I can get people on a live broadcast at about 8:30, and then it can be over by about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and they can be out the door. Same thing is for people that are working first shift. Where I work, I have to be there at 7 o'clock. I usually leave my house at about 6. I wake up at about 5. Get your shower, get your shave, get your stuff, get the fuck out. And if this all pans out the correct way, first shifters will have enough time to go to sleep and go to work. And second shifters or third shifters will have enough time to finish the podcast or drop out a little early if they have to. If they have to say, hey guys, it's 9:40, I really got to go. Good luck with the rest of the show. And they go, and they leave. That's fine. That's what happens. That's what happens. Look, this is real. We don't get paid for this. So all I'm trying to do is make this work because we've paid for the server and because, quite frankly, I want to do it. It's crazy. There's no deeper meaning to it than that. I want to do it. I don't get paid for this. I don't get any real credit for this. I don't get much out of this. I just do this, and I do it because I want to do it, because it's been such a big part of my life now for so long that I almost don't feel right not doing it. I love the fan interaction. That's a big thing. And it's not just like, ooh, people love me. It's something about building community and structure with people that enjoy the show. There's something very special, something very worthwhile in itself about that. And quite frankly, I'm not ready to walk away from all of this if I can make it work. I don't like that this might count Shane out of a lot of material. He's working on getting on to third shift. I don't know if he'll be able to do it. Here's hoping. Those are my plans. Those are some of the realities. This was Days Off 1. Finally coming back. Days Off show. And that is about all that I could say here. I'm at the end of my night. It's just about time for me to lay down, go to sleep. So, because I'm back on first. Back on first. Whole life has been kind of just coming back together since I got back on first. Just in case. You guys see my Wonder Woman glass? That's what I've been drinking out of. Wonder Woman glass. I don't know why. I just wanted to show that off for a second. So, okay. That's it. That's all I can do here. That's what I came in to do, was get the Days Off stuff started and kind of explain to you where Fandom Night is at currently, that I'm back. I'm going to try to seize a little more control. I'm going to try to put this show back on track. I'm going to try to make this work. We have the servers paid in full for like another 2 years. So my goal here is to kind of see if I can make something out of this with the next 2 years. And the only way I'm going to do that is to make certain tough decisions. And Shane is one of those decisions. And I don't make it lightly. I'm going to try to get him in for every Sentai we can get him into. And anytime he has the opportunity to show up for What's Ups or any other show, I'm going to get him in there. But this is going to be rough for a while until we can figure out what we're going to have to do. Some members might drop in and out for a while until we can figure it out. And that's just the nature of the beast, guys. But hey, for what it's worth, you know I'm going to try. So that was my day off, and I gotta go back to work.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.